Listen to this. You can peruse every tone, watch all the videos, and reiterate to yourself 1,000 times that you cherish yourself. But if you don't comprehend this one thing, the affection you seek will perpetually remain beyond your grasp. Today, I'm not here to impart theory. I'm here to provide you with the key, something no one has ever revealed to you before. A truth that Carl Jung unearthed, and that will perpetually alter the way you relate to yourself and others. Are you prepared to unveil it? If you're observing this, it's because something within you already discerns there's more. This isn't merely about acknowledging your shadow or harmonizing your energies. It's about implementing those concepts in a manner that transforms your life. And by the conclusion of this video, you won't merely possess a profounder understanding of why you've struggled to feel cherished. You'll depart with a clear and pragmatic strategy to revolutionize your relationship with yourself and consequently with others. This isn't about theory, it's about action. Your relationships are not haphazard. What allures you or repels you in others is a direct reflection of what remains unresolved within you. Ponder the last individual who evoked an intense sensation in you, whether it was affection or frustration. That person is more than just a transient figure in your life. They are a mirror, revealing something profoundly buried within you. Perhaps you find yourself drawn to people who induce feelings of insecurity, or perhaps you perpetually feel frustrated by those who exhibit traits that you reject in yourself. Today, you're going to learn how to utilize that mirror to uncover the facets of yourself that are clamoring for attention and healing, because until you do, you will persist in seeking affection in all the incorrect places. The genuine question isn't, why does this person behave this way? The genuine question is, what is this person revealing to me about myself? This concept of relational mirror is far more profound than it initially appears. When someone triggers a potent emotional reaction in you, you're experiencing a projection of your own shadow. Examine the patterns in your relationships. Do you find yourself repeatedly drawn to people with analogous characteristics, or do you find yourself consistently avoiding certain types of people? Both reactions are equally revealing. Attraction and repulsion are two sides of the same coin. They both signify something crucial about your inner world. When you feel profoundly drawn to someone, inquire, what qualities do I admire in this person? Could it be that these are qualities I haven't fully cultivated or expressed in myself? Perhaps you admire someone's liberty and spontaneity because you have lived a life that feels excessively structured and controlled. Similarly, when someone irritates you intensely, inquire, what precisely bothers me about this person? Could it be that I possess that same trait, but have denied or repressed it in myself? Maybe arrogance in others triggers you because, deep down, you grapple with your own superiority complex, one that you are ashamed to acknowledge. This kind of self-awareness is transformative, but it necessitates brutal honesty. You must be willing to perceive the facets of yourself that you've kept concealed, even from yourself, and it's in this recognition that genuine healing commences. The most challenging relationships in your life are often your greatest teachers. That individual who perpetually irritates you might just be the key to unlocking facets of yourself that require attention. It's no coincidence that certain individuals appear in your life. They are karmic messengers, showing you the path to your own integration. Remember, just as others reflect facets of you, you also act as a mirror for them. When you comprehend this, you cultivate both compassion and responsibility in your interactions. You begin to perceive that when someone reacts negatively toward you, they aren't necessarily responding to you. They are responding to the reflection of themselves that they see in you. Instead of reacting defensively, you can respond with understanding. The objective of this work isn't merely to identify patterns, it's to transform them. Once you recognize what facet of yourself is being reflected in a difficult relationship, you can begin to heal that facet. And as you consciously integrate those rejected or underdeveloped aspects of yourself, your relationships will commence to change naturally and effortlessly. This process of integration doesn't occur overnight. Don't anticipate immediate results. Observe your emotional reactions as if you were a scientist studying a fascinating subject, without judgment, only with genuine curiosity. Over time, you'll notice that the individuals who once triggered intense reactions in you will no longer possess the same power over your emotions. The healthier and more balanced relationships you seek will commence to appear. Instead of attracting individuals who reflect your wounds, you'll commence attracting those who reflect the healed, whole version of yourself. You'll no longer seek in others what you lack within yourself. Instead, you'll create connections based on shared wholeness rather than emotional dependency. True affection is only achievable after this journey of self-discovery. When you love from a place of wholeness rather than lack, your relationships become spaces for mutual growth rather than sources of emotional neediness. You no longer require someone else to fill your emptiness. You are complete within yourself. And here's the ultimate truth. The facet of yourself that you reject is the same facet that is sabotaging your relationships. You cannot fully love if you do not accept all of who you are. Ponder the things you dislike about yourself, the things you attempt to conceal. That is your shadow. And until you integrate it, you will persist in projecting your insecurities onto others. For instance, if arrogance in others bothers you, it's likely that a facet of you fears being perceived as arrogant. Or if you're drawn to people who make you feel small, it's because deep down, a facet of you doesn't feel big enough. Here you will discover how to integrate your shadow, not to become perfect, but to become whole. Because only when you accept everything that you are, can you love and be loved authentically. Your shadow isn't merely the negative aspects of yourself. It also encompasses your unrecognized gifts and talents. When you reject facets of yourself, you fragment your being, creating an invisible barrier that prevents the deep connection you long for. But when you embrace all that you are, you cease seeking affection as something external. You become affection, and from that place, true connection becomes inevitable. This fragmentation leads us to seek in others what we cannot accept in ourselves. Every time you harshly judge someone, you are facing a mirror. That quality that irritates you so much in another person is merely a reflection of something within you that remains unacknowledged. Pay close attention to your most intense reactions. Within them, you will discover the most valuable clues about yourself. Perhaps you despise vulnerability in others because you fear your own fragility, or maybe you criticize excessive ambition because you have not allowed yourself to recognize your own desires for success and recognition. Your shadow also manifests in your romantic attractions. We are drawn to individuals who freely express what we have repressed. If you feel irresistibly attracted to dominant personalities, ask yourself, is there a facet of me that longs to express more power and authority? If you constantly seek partners who need to be rescued, you may be projecting your own need for care and attention. Relationship sabotage occurs subtly but persistently. Perhaps you fear abandonment, so you push individuals away before they have the chance to leave you. Or maybe you fear being controlled, so you resist any suggestion from your partner, even when it is reasonable. These patterns are not random. They are defense mechanisms of your unintegrated shadow. Integrating your shadow requires courage. The initial step is to be willing to perceive it without self-judgment. Whenever you feel an intense aversion to something in another person, ask yourself, where does this exist within me? Not to blame yourself, but to know yourself more deeply. Integration also involves expressing repressed aspects of yourself in safe environments. If you have suppressed your creativity, find spaces where you can freely express it. If you have denied your need for connection, allow yourself to be vulnerable with trusted people. Over time, these rejected parts will transform from hidden saboteurs into sources of strength. A potent exercise is to compose a letter to your shadow. Acknowledge its existence, express gratitude for its attempts to protect you, and share your intention to integrate it with compassion. This internal dialogue can be the commencement of a profound reconciliation with yourself. The beautiful paradox is that by accepting your darkest aspects, you become more luminous. By embracing your imperfections, you become more authentic, and it is this authenticity that unlocks the doors to genuine connections. The deepest and most fulfilling relationships emerge when two individuals present themselves whole, with both light and shadow integrated. You no longer require a partner to complete what you lack. You arrive as a complete being. You no longer project your fears and insecurities onto others, because you have embraced them as part of yourself. Relationships are not merely about feeling good. They are about growth. Every conflict, every action, every disappointment is an opportunity to comprehend yourself better. In this session, you will learn to perceive affection not as an end, but as a journey of self-discovery. Until you grasp this, you will persist in repeating the same errors. For instance, if you consistently end up in relationships where you feel abandoned, it is because there is an abandonment wound that you need to heal. If you perpetually seek individuals who make you feel secure, it is because a facet of you does not feel safe. Here you will discover how to utilize affection as a tool for growth, not as a goal that frustrates you. When we view affection solely as a source of pleasure and comfort, we forfeit its deeper transformative power. Relationships are life's most intense classroom, the clearest mirror of our inner world. Every individual who enters your life arrives with a specific lesson, and until you assimilate that lesson, the pattern will reiterate. The faces may alter, but the essence remains the same. Relational patterns are not accidental. If you examine your romantic history, you will find recurring themes that connect seemingly disparate experiences. Perhaps you consistently end up with emotionally distant individuals, or maybe you consistently attract those who need to be rescued. These patterns are invitations for self-reflection, signals pointing to internal wounds that need to be acknowledged. Attachment theory educates us that our earliest bonds shape patterns that reiterate in adulthood. If, as a child, you learned that affection is inconsistent, you will unconsciously seek inconsistency in your adult relationships because it feels familiar, even if painful. Recognizing these patterns is the initial step toward transforming them. The genuine purpose of romantic affection is not to make you happy, though happiness can be a beautiful side effect. Its purpose is to reveal facets of yourself that would otherwise remain concealed. It is in intimacy that your deepest fears, defense mechanisms, and unexpressed desires come to light. Affection is not merely about finding the right person. It is about becoming the person who can love deeply, fearlessly, and consciously. When conflict arises in your relationship, the most valuable question is not who is right, but rather, what is this situation teaching me about myself? Perhaps your disproportionate irritation over a simple comment reveals a deep-seated insecurity. Maybe your constant need for control is actually masking a profound fear of abandonment. These insights, while often uncomfortable, are treasures for those seeking personal growth. Attractions too serve as powerful teachers. They draw you toward aspects of yourself that you have yet to fully integrate. If you deeply admire someone's sense of freedom, it may be because you long for greater freedom in your own life. If you find yourself captivated by another person's creativity, it could be a sign that there is an artist within you waiting to be expressed. Your most intense attractions are not random. They are maps guiding you toward unrealized aspects of your own potential. Heartbreak, while painful, presents an extraordinary opportunity for growth. When a relationship ends, you have two choices. You can blame the other person and continue reiterating the same patterns, or you can turn inward and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? The difference between these two responses determines whether you become bitter or wiser from the experience. Mature affection does not seek perfection in a partner. It seeks mutual growth. A relationship rooted in this mindset is not only about individual happiness, but about shared evolution. In this kind of relationship, every challenge is embraced as an opportunity to expand, to break limitations, and to heal together. Paradoxically, when you embrace affection as a tool for personal growth, happiness comes more deeply and more sustainably. You no longer depend on perfect circumstances or an ideal partner to feel fulfilled. Instead, you find satisfaction in the process of evolving, of knowing yourself more intimately through the mirror that your partner provides. The shift begins when you cease saying things like, "I always end up with the same kind of partner," and instead start asking, "Why do I keep choosing this kind of partner?" This change in perspective restores your power. You are no longer a victim of fate or the actions of others. You become the conscious creator of your relational experiences. Embracing affection as a path to self-growth requires courage. You must be willing to confront uncomfortable truths, to question deeply ingrained beliefs, and to let go of identities that no longer serve you. But the reward is immense. More authentic relationships, deeper self-awareness, and the ability to love from a place of freedom rather than from a place of need. Why do you consistently find yourself in the same kinds of relationships? The answer lies within your subconscious. The patterns you reiterate over and over again are not mere coincidences. They are signals that there is something within you that needs healing. For instance, if you consistently feel drawn to individuals who make you suffer, it is likely that there is an unresolved emotional wound seeking attention. If you always seek validation from your partners, it may be because a facet of you feels unworthy or unseen. Today, you will discover how to identify these patterns and break the cycle so you can create healthier, more conscious connections. Because until you do, you will persist in attracting relationships that leave you feeling unfulfilled. Toxic relationship patterns are like invisible cycles that reiterate with mathematical precision in your life. You may change partners, but the underlying dynamic remains the same. This phenomenon is not a curse, nor is it bad luck. It is the result of deeply rooted subconscious programming that influences your choices without you even realizing it. These subconscious patterns are often formed in childhood, when you first learned what affection meant and how relationships functioned. If you grew up in an environment where affection was conditional upon performance, you may now find yourself consistently seeking approval in your adult relationships. If affection in your past was often accompanied by criticism, you might feel strangely comfortable in relationships where conflict is present. The famous phrase, "what is familiar feels safe," explains why we unconsciously reiterate unhealthy relationship patterns. Your brain is wired to seek the known, even when the known is painful. This is why many individuals leave one toxic relationship only to find themselves in another, eerily similar one. The initial step in breaking these patterns is developing self-awareness. Observe your relationship history as if you were watching a movie. What themes keep reiterating? Do you consistently end up feeling abandoned? Are you drawn to emotionally unavailable individuals? Do you tend to lose your sense of identity in relationships? These repetitions are not coincidences. They are clues pointing to specific emotional wounds. Behind every toxic pattern lies a limiting belief. If you consistently attract individuals who betray you, it is likely that deep inside you hold the belief that you do not deserve loyalty. If you consistently find yourself in relationships